Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to yet another supremely amazing lecture on the same chapter that we were dealing with, that is locomotion and movement. And today we will be discussing about the appendicular skeleton along with two new topics, that is the joints and the disorders of the skeletal system. Fine. I hope I'm audible to each one of you. All of you can hear me and see the screen properly. Yes. So this is our lecture number 5. Without wasting our time, we are moving on with the lecture. This is our amazing Telegram group at BioPoint where we have regular polls, quizzes, discussion, updates on our classes and OMR sheet examination. Also, those who haven't yet joined our Telegram group and wishes to join, you can join with this particular link at BioPoint. So those who haven't not yet subscribed our wonderful channel, do go to YouTube and subscribe our wonderful channel of BioPoint, stream the world of bio exclusively for class 10th CBSE ongoing batch as well as 11th and 12th Neet 2021 and 2022 batch. Yes, so this was where we stopped in the last class, and today we'll be discussing with that particular topic, and that is the ribs. Okay, so each rib has two articulation surfaces on its dorsal end. So it is called a bicephalic condition. Okay, so each rib has two articulations. What do you mean by articulation? In yesterday's class itself, I told you what do you mean by an articulation. Articulation means what? The connection. Articulation means the connection. So each rib has two connection surfaces on its dorsal end, so it is called a bicephalic condition. Next, we studied what is true ribs, right? What are true ribs? True ribs are attached to the thoracic vertebrae and ventrally, dorsally they are attached to the vertebral column and ventrally they are attached to the sternum with the help of a particular cartilage known as the hyaline cartilage. Next, the second type is the false ribs. False rib means they do not articulate directly with the sternum, even though they articulate dorsally to the vertebral column, but they do not connect directly into the sternum in the ventral side, but they join with the seventh rib. Look, guys, the eighth, ninth, and the 10th pairs, they join with the seventh. If this is the seventh, then the eighth, nine, and the 10th pairs join out with the seventh. So they are vertebrocontral ribs. Then you have the last pair of ribs, that is a floating ribs, that is which all pairs? 11th and 12th pairs of ribs are known as 11th and 12th pairs of ribs, you call it as the floating ribs, and they are not connected ventrally. They are dorsal side, they are connected to the vertebral column, but they are not ventrally connected to the sternum. Clear? Next is the appendicular skeleton. Next we are going to study about the appendicular skeleton, that is the pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle, etc. Okay. Okay. So we studied that a total of 126. Oh my God. 1 second, let me correct it off. Yes. We studied that a total of 126 bones are present in the appendicular skeleton out of the 206. So in the four limbs, you have 30 bones in one hand. First, we are going to discuss about a forelimb, that is simply our hands. Yes. So four limbs, one forelimb has 30 bones. So two, it is 60 bones are present in together in our four limbs. That is, this is there in your NCRT and this is previous year questions also. Arrange them in the increasing order of their numbers or arrange them in the ascending order as they appear from shoulder to the tip or whatever they will be asking. So this diagram is also there in your NCRT. So this is an important question for your exam. Yes. So humerus, which is a 1, radius 1, ulna 1, carpal, which is the wrist bone, which is 8 in number. Very important MCQ. Okay, they will be definitely asking you about the other name for the wrist bone. That is the carpal. Very important MCQ question. Oh my God. Nothing is working. Yes. Previous year MCQ question. Next, we have the palm bone, which is 5 in number. That is the metacarpal. Last one is the digits. That is the fingers, which is phalanges. Guys, look, this is the humerus. This is the radius. This is the lower bone is the ulna. So radius and ulna. Then you have the wrist bone, which is a carpal. The palm bone, which is a metacarpal. And last you have the phalanges. Guys, this time you don't have to study about each segment. You have to study only about the number of bones and the name of the total bones present over in the four limbs. Next is the hind limbs. What are hind limbs? Definitely your legs, your two right and left legs. So 30 into 2 together makes 60 bonds. 30 into 2 together makes a 60 bonds. That is, they include a femur, which is a thigh bone, that is 1 in number. Then patella, which is a kneecap. You have, when you touch, yes, come on guys, touch up on your knees. Then you will have a kneecap like bone over there. That you will call it as the patella. Patella. Okay, next you have one tibia and one fibula, just like the radius and ulna. Upper one tibia, lower one fibula. Then you have the ankle bones where you wear the shoe, socks, then anklets, all these things. They are 7 in number. Then you have 5 metatarsals over here. It is not metacarpals, it is metatarsals. At last you have the phalanges, which are 14 in number. Okay, clear guys? Next one is about the pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle into 2, that is 4 in number. That is, they are formed of the clavicle. Clavicle is the collarbone. Clavicle is the collarbone. Next is scapula, which is a shoulder blade. Okay guys, this is the humerus. This is a joint, particular type of joint, which we have in detail in the upcoming session. Okay, about the ball and the socket joint. This is the clavicle, which is the collarbone, which is 2 in number, and the scapula, which is a shoulder blade. This is the scapula, which is a shoulder blade, again 2 in number. Clear? The scapula, what do you mean by scapula? It is a large triangular flat bone. This is a previous year MCQ, which is a large triangular flat bone. It is a scapula, which is located on the dorsal part of the thoracic between the second and the seventh pair of ribs. I don't have any tricks to give you. This is all things you have to by heart. If I get any tricks, I'll inform. Okay, I'll take a separate lecture for that. So scapula is a triangular shaped part, flat bone situated in the dorsal part. Look, triangular. Okay, large triangular flat bone situated between the second and the seventh ribs. Then they have a slightly elevated ridge, that is a spine, which projects as a flat and expanded portion called the acromion. The clavicle gets articulated with the acromion. So very important guys, scapula helps in the attachment of acromion, or acromion attaches scapula with the clavicle. Clavicle, this is the acromion. Yes, below the acromion, this is a depression. Okay, this is a depression. Below the acromion, you have the glenoid cavity. You have the glenoid cavity, which articulates with the head of the humerus to form the shoulder joint. Okay guys, if you have any doubt regarding this, please ask me in the Telegram group, because as you all know, this is a premiered lecture. So since I'm a bit busy in the evening, I don't want to cancel your class, because it's my target to finish this by today evening. Okay, so if we cancel, it will take one more hour from us, which is actually scheduled for neural control and coordination, right? So I don't want that. So what? Definitely we'll be taking over this, and if you have any doubt regarding this, ask me in the telegram itself. Okay, here you have to study what is scapula, what is acromion, and what is glenoid cavity. These three things you have to study in this particular chapter, or in this particular slide, not this chapter, this particular slide. Okay. So the pectoral, what do you mean by actually pectoral and pelvic bonds or girdles? They are the bonds which helps in the articulation of the upper and the lower limbs together with the axial skeleton, right? So each girdle is formed of two halves. Scapula is a large triangular flat bone situated in the dorsal part of the thorax between the second and the seventh ribs. Okay. Then you have a flat triangular shaped portion. I'll show you. Yes, guys, this is the clavicle. This is the clavicle. This is the triangular shaped bone, which is the scapula. Clear? So clavicle and the scapula, that are the two bones. Clear with this slide, everybody? Clear? Next is the pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle also consists of two into one, two bonds. It is formed of two coaxial bonds. Two coaxial bond, and each coaxial bond is formed by the fusion of three bonds, which is an Ames Neet AIPMT repeated question at least 20 times. Repeated MCQ question. Clear? So that are formed by the fusion of three bonds. It is ilium, ischium, and pubis. Ilium, ischium, pubis. Study by the order itself. Ilium, ischium, pubis. The three different bonds which forms the coaxial bond. It is a type of bond which is formed by the fusion of three different other bonds, that is ilium, ischium, and pubis. At the point of fusion of ilium, ischium, and pubis, there is a cavity called the acetabulum. Acetabulum, to which the thigh bone articulates. Thigh bone is the longest bone, right? Which is the femur, right? Oh my God. Okay, so acetabulum, oh my God. Okay. Acetabulum, which helps it to attach with the thigh bone, which is the femur. Femur is the longest bone of our body, you know. And the smallest bone on the chat box, guys, it is stapes. Repeat, stapes is the smallest bone. The two halves of the pelvic girdle meet ventrally to form a pubic symphysis containing the fibrosis cartilage. Containing the fibrosis cartilage. Clear, everyone? Clear? Next topic is the joints. Joints are the point of contact between the bones. Joints are the point of contact between the bones or between the bones and a cartilage. Okay. So there are mainly three types of joints. That is a fibrous joint or immovable joint, cartilaginous joint or slightly movable, synovial joint or movable joint, completely movable. Okay. We have fibrous joint, cartilaginous joint or synovial joint. In your lower classes, you might have studied movable, immovable, and partially movable or slightly movable joint. Discussing in detail about each thing. First one is the fibrous joint. They are immovable joint. For example, they are found in the sutures between the flat skull bone. Okay, the sutures of the skull bone. Actually, skull is a part which cannot undergo any type of movement. So there, what type of joints you can see there? You could see the fibrous joint, which is a type of immovable joint. So example for immovable joint, they are found in the sutures between the flat skull bones. Second one is the cartilaginous joint. What do you mean by cartilaginous? They are slightly movable. Slightly movable joints. The bones are joined together with the help of cartilage. Example, joints between two adjacent vertebrae. Joints between two adjacent vertebrae is an example for cartilaginous joint or partially movable joint. Clear? Give me hearts on the screen, guys. I'm going a bit faster because I don't know when is it going to end, because I have to show you a video regarding the joints also over here. Okay. So cartilage, we studied about the immovable joint which are present on the skull, sutures of the skull. Then we have the cartilaginous joint which are slightly movable joint present between the adjacent vertebrae. The third type is the synovial joint, which are the completely movable joint, because you have a synovial fluid in between which prevents it from what? Which prevents the bones from getting rubbed together due to friction, reduces the friction between them. They are characterized by the presence of a cavity, that is synovial cavity, which is filled by a synovial fluid articulating the bonds between the two surfaces. So guys, take a screenshot for this. This is a very important one. The types of synovial joint questions definitely comes from this joint session. Okay, each chapter we would say plus 4 marks guaranteed. So from this chapter, 4 marks guaranteed, we could expect a question either from the mechanism of muscle contraction or from the synovial joints type. Plus 4 marks is very important. Okay. 2020, 2019, 2018, 2016, 17, 15, all years a question from joint is definitely asked. Clear? So for example, the first one is the ball and socket joint, which is present between the shoulder joint and the hip joint. Examples are shoulder joint, you will have the ball and socket joint. I'll show you with the help of a video. Shoulder joint and a hip joint. Also, you can see the ball and socket joint. Then you have the hinge joint, which is present between the knee joint or the elbow joint. Pivot joint between the atlas and the axis, the two bonds of the vertebrae, the first bonds of the vertebrae, atlas and axis. Then you have the gliding joint, which is present between the carpals present on the hand, and saddle joint is the joint present between the carpal or metacarpal. Joints between carpals and metacarpals of the thumb, you have the saddle joint. So I have a video for you to show over here. I hope you have noted down all the other things. So let's move to the video right now. Oh my god. Sorry guys, once again. I don't know whether the sound will be there, but listen. In this module, you will learn about the different types of joint. If you are in a sports ground, if you are in a yoga class, or if you are doing some work at your home, definitely you have to go with the working of different kinds of muscles, right? I hope you are not audible with this sound. That's why I'm explaining. So please listen. So we are moving. This is a two kinds of bonds are connected together with the help of something. That's what we are discussing now. So the joints can mainly be divided into two: immovable joints and movable joints. Immovable joints are the joints that allow no movement of the body parts. They are also called fixed joints. For example, bones present on the skull, sutures of the skull. Then you have certain movable joint. You can rotate your hand, all these things. So that helps in the movement of body parts. You will have the movable joint. So the type of joints, movable and immovable. There you have four different kinds of movable joints also. That is a hinge joint, ball and socket joint, pivot joint, gliding joint. Yes, one more is there, saddle joint, but it's not so important, but they can be asked for our exam. It is not explained in this video. Again. Instead of playing, I just play. So hinge joint, ball and socket joint, pivot joint, and the gliding joint. So first we are going to study about the hinge joint. The hinge joint is exactly like the hinge. The hinge joint is exactly like the hinges present inside the door, in between the door. Exactly, it works exactly like these hinges. While we are running, while we are walking, all these time the hinge joint comes into play. For example, the elbow joint, the knee joint, all are examples of hinge joint. The second type is the ball and socket joint. Look, the ball is fitted into a socket portion. Look, this structure is illustrated over here as the large image. The cup-shaped socket is there and the ball is fitted into it, just like the ball and socket joint. So the ball and socket joint allows the easy movement of all the body parts in all the direction. For example, hip joint and the shoulder joint. Next one we are going to discuss is about the pivot joint. Pivot joint is present, okay, just like a mixer present over there. A screw will be there and a bond, a ring shaped bond, and along with another long lengthy bond will be rotating. Look how we are able to turn a necks into both the direction. Neck bond is an example, or neck joint is an example for what? Pivot joint. The last one we have the gliding joint. That is, two bonds slide over each other or glide over each other, which causes the movement. Angle joint and wrist joint are examples of what? Pivot, not pivot, what? Gliding joints. So there are certain structure which connects the two bonds together. It is known as the ligaments. And we have another structure connecting the bonds, that is the cartilage. The bonds are really not visible with the ordinary eye. So in case of an injury, doctor uses X-ray to create the image of the bonds using radiation. So let's recap what we have learned over here. A joint is a place where two bonds are joined together. Joints can be categorized as movable and immovable joints. Then the immovable joints or the fixed joints are the joints that allow no movement of the body parts. Movable joints are the joints that helps in the movement of the body parts. The hinge joint, ball and socket joint, pivot joint, and gliding joint are the four types of movable joint. Yes, this is all about our video. Clear, everyone? Next, the last topic we are going to discuss. Let's look what all are there for us. We have 8 slides more in order to complete this amazing chapter of locomotion and movement. So the last topic of this chapter, disorders of muscular and skeletal system. First one, myasthenia gravis. It is a frequently asked previous year question. It is an autoimmune disorder. Myasthenia gravis. This is a frequently asked question. Which of among the following is an auto? Leads to fatigue, weakening, paralysis of the skeletal muscle. These are the examples or symptoms of myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune disorder. That is, our own immune system affects our own cells, resulting in an autoimmune disorder. Next one, we have the muscular dystrophy. Muscular dystrophy, which is caused due to the progressive degeneration of the skeletal muscle. Progressive degeneration of the skeletal muscle, and which is mainly due to certain genetic disorders. Okay. Guys, this is actually the normal biceps, but if our biceps get disease called muscular dystrophy, our biceps would be like this, right? Next one is the tetany. Actually, tetany is a rapid spasm in the muscles due to the low calcium 2 plus ions in the body fluid. In place in the muscles due to the low calcium ions in the body fluid, so call it as the tetany, everyone. The next one is the myasthenia. Then what was the second one? Myasthenia gravis. And the other one was, what was the second one? Muscular dystrophy due to the progressive regeneration. Arthritis, you know, very frequently inflammation of the joints, you will call it as the arthritis. And the last, second last one, you have the osteoporosis. That is actually, this is a normal bond, guys. Actually, there is, I just forgot to take the pen over here. That's why today I'm writing with the mouse. It's feeling so bored. That's why I'm not taking the risk of drawing on these slides. So this is a normal bond matrix, but a person with the osteoporosis, porous bond is going to get happen. So this is an age-related disorder characterized by the decreased bone mass and increased chances of fractures. So it is caused, one of the main causes of osteoporosis is the decreased level of the female sex hormone, that is the estrogen. Okay, clear guys? The last one, you have the gout. Gout is the gout, the term itself, accumulation of uric acid crystals inside the joints. You will call it as the gout. So these are the 5 disorders of the muscular and skeletal system, and thus we have come to the end of this amazing chapter of locomotion and movement. So today you have the mega botanitis, which consists of 50 questions in all total, 200 marks exam. So I want each one of you, it's the most easiest chapter of your NEET exam syllabus. So you want each one of you to score above 150, 160, above 170 marks. Toppers, first 10 positions, above 170. Clear? So thank you guys. See you in the next class. Bye bye.